Good morning. Happy Tuesday. You'll notice in the bottom of devotions, I changed it. Whoops, I missed the word daily. It's joyful daily. I changed it to say January 4th because every day I change it to a number of a day and I'm like, is this right? And I mess it up. But you know what I will get right 99% of the time is the date. Be easier to find the videos with just the date. Okay, guys. So good morning. I hope you had a lovely day yesterday to start the week off on the right foot. So here we are, Tuesday. It's going to be a busy one today. Good morning, Janet. Good morning. Hey, Rita. All right, let's go ahead and get started. January 4th. The Tower of Babel, Genesis 11, 1 through 9. At one time, all the people of the world spoke the same language and used the same words. As the people migrated to the east, they found a plain in the land of Babylonia and settled there. They began saying to each other, "Let's make bricks and harden them with fire." In this region, bricks were used instead of stone, and tar was used for mortar. Then they said, "Come, let's build a great city for ourselves with a tower that reaches to the sky. This will make us famous and keep us from being scattered all over the world." But the Lord came down to look at the city and the tower the people were building. "Look," he said, "the people are united and they all speak the same language. After this, nothing they set out to do will be impossible for them. Come, let us go down and confuse the people with different languages. Then they won't be able to understand each other." In that way, the Lord scattered them all over the world, and they stopped building the city. That is why the city is called Babel, because this is where the Lord confused the people with different languages. In this way, he scattered them all over the world. From Shem to Abram, Genesis 11, 10 through 26. This is the account of Shem's family. 2 years after the great flood, when Shem was 100 years old, he became the father of Arphaxad. After the birth of Arphaxad, Shem lived another 500 years and had other sons and daughters. When Arphaxad was 35 years old, he became the father of Shelah. After the birth of Shelah, Arphaxad lived another 403 years and had other sons and daughters. When Shelah was 30 years old, he became the father of Eber. After the birth of Eber, Shelah lived another 403 years and had other sons and daughters. When Eber was 34 years old, he became the father of Peleg. After the birth of Peleg, Eber lived another 430 years and had other sons and daughters. When Peleg was 30 years old, he became the father of Reu. After the birth of Reu, Peleg lived another 209 years and had other sons and daughters. When Reu was 32 years old, he became the father of Serug. After the birth of Serug, Reu lived another 207 years and had other sons and daughters. When Serug was 30 years old, he became the father of Nahor. After the birth of Nahor, Serug lived another 200 years and had other sons and daughters. When Nahor was 29 years old, he became the father of Terah. After the birth of Terah, Nahor lived another 119 years and had other sons and daughters. After Terah was 70 years old, he became the father of Abram, Nahor, and Haran. 1 Corinthians 1, 24 through 27. So this is the family line descended from Shem, Arphaxad, Shelah, Eber, Peleg, Reu, Serug, Nahor, Terah, and Abram, later known as Abraham. The family of Terah, Genesis 11, 27 through 31, which was 2166 or 2000 BC. There's a note that says, beginning with the history of Terah's family, 2 dates are given, a traditional earlier date and alternative later date. All dates are approximate. This is the account of Terah's family. Terah was the father of Abram, Nahor, and Haran was the father of Lot. But Haran died in Ur of the Chaldeans, the land of his birth, while his father Terah was living. Meanwhile, Abram and Nahor both married. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife was Milcah. Milcah and her sister Iscah were the daughters of Nahor's brother Haran. But Sarai was unable to become pregnant and had no children. One day, Terah took his son Abram, his daughter-in-law Sarai, his son Abram's wife, and his grandson Lot, his son Haran's child, and moved away from Ur of the Chaldeans. He was headed for the land of Canaan, but they stopped at Haran and settled there. The call of Abram, Genesis 12, 1 through 9, which is 2091 or 1925 BC. Some years later, when Abram was grown and married and still living with his father Haran, the Lord called Abram to go to a new land. The Lord had said to Abram, "Leave your native country, your relatives, and your father's family, and go to the land that I will show you. I will make you into a great nation. I will bless you and make you famous, and you will be a blessing to others. I will bless those who bless you and curse those who treat you with contempt. All the families on the earth will be blessed through you." So Abram departed as the Lord had instructed, and Lot went with him. Abram was 75 years old when he left Haran. He took his wife Sarai, his nephew Lot, and all of his wealth, his livestock, and all the people he had taken into his household at Haran, and headed for the land of Canaan. When they arrived in Canaan, Abram traveled through the land as far as Shechem. There he set a camp beside the oak of Moreh. At that time, the area was inhabited by the Canaanites. Then the Lord appeared to Abram and said, I will give this land to your descendants. And Abram built an altar there and dedicated it to the Lord who had appeared to him. After that, Abram traveled south and set up camp in the hill country, with Bethel to the west and Ai to the east. There he built another altar and dedicated it to the Lord, and he worshipped the Lord. Then Abram continued to travel south by stages toward the Negev. Abram and Sarai in Egypt, Genesis 12:10 through 20. Hold up, how can I get rid of spammy comments? Go away, spammy comments. Gone. Okay, sorry. Where was I? Abram and Sarai in Egypt, Genesis 12:10 through 20. At that time, a severe famine struck the land of Canaan, forcing Abram to go down to Egypt, where he lived as a foreigner. As he was approaching the border of Egypt, Abram said to his wife Sarai, Look, you are a very beautiful woman. When the Egyptians see you, they will say, This is his wife. Let's kill him, and then we can have her. So please tell them you are my sister. Then they will spare my life and treat me well because of their interest in you. And sure enough, when Abram arrived in Egypt, everyone noticed Sarai's beauty. When the palace officials saw her, they sang her praises to Pharaoh, their king, and Sarai was taken into his palace. Then Pharaoh gave Abram many gifts because of her: sheep, goats, cattle, male, female donkeys, and male and female servants, and camels. But the Lord sent terrible plagues upon Pharaoh and his household because of Sarai, Abram's wife. So Pharaoh summoned Abram and accused him sharply. What have you done to me? He demanded. Why didn't you tell me she was your wife? Why did you say she is my sister and allow me to take her as my wife? Now then, here is your wife. Take her and get out of here. Pharaoh ordered some of his men to escort them, and he sent Abram out of the country along with his wife and all of his possessions. Abram and Lot separate, Genesis 13:1 through 18. So Abram left Egypt and traveled north into the Negev, along with his wife and Lot and all that they owned. Abram was very rich in livestock, silver, and gold. From the Negev, they continued to travel by stages towards Bethel, and they pitched their tents between Bethel and Ai, where they had camped before. This was the same place where Abram had built the altar, and there he worshipped the Lord again. Lot, who was traveling with Abram, had also become very wealthy with flocks of sheep and goats, herds of cattle, and many tents. But the land could not support both Abram and Lot, with all of their flocks and herds living so close together. So disputes broke out between the herdsmen of Abram and Lot. At that time, the Canaanites and Perizzites were also living in the land. Finally, Abram said to Lot, Let's not allow this conflict to come between us or our herdsmen. After all, we are close relatives. The whole countryside is open to you. Take your choice of any section of the land you want, and we will separate. If you want the land on the left, then I'll take the land on the right. If you prefer the land on the right, then I'll go to the left. Lot took a long look at the fertile plains of the Jordan Valley in the direction of Zoar. The whole area was well watered everywhere, like the garden of the Lord or the beautiful land of Egypt. This was before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. Lot chose himself the whole Jordan Valley to the east of them. He went there with his flocks and servants and parted company with his uncle Abram. So Abram settled in the land of Canaan, and Lot moved his tents to a place near Sodom and settled among the cities of the plain. But the people of the but the people of this area were extremely wicked and constantly sinned against the Lord. After Lot had gone, the Lord said to Abram, "Look as far as you can see in every direction, north and south, east and west. I am giving all of this land as far as you can see to you and your descendants as a permanent possession. And I will give you as many descendants like that, like the dust of the earth. They cannot be counted. Go and walk through the land in every direction, for I am giving it to you." So Abram moved his camp to Hebron and settled near the oak grove belonging to Mamre. There he built another altar to the Lord. Okay. Let's see. Abram rescues Lot. Genesis 14, 1 through 16. About the time war broke out in the region, King Amraphel of Babylonia, King Arioch of Elasar, King Chedorlaomer of Elam, and King Tidal of Goyim fought against King Bera of Sodom, King Bersha of Gomorrah, King Shinhab of Admah, King Shemeber of Zeboam, and King Bela, also called Zoar. This second group of kings joined forces in the Siddim Valley, that is, the Valley of the Dead Sea. For 12 years they had been subject to King Chedorlaomer, but in the 13th year they rebelled against him. 1 year later, King Chedorlaomer and his allies arrived and defeated the Rephaites at Ashtaroth Karnaim, the Zuzites at Ham, the Emites at Shava Kiriathaim, and the Horites at Mount Seir, as far as El Paran, at the edge of the wilderness. Then they turned back and came to En-Mishpat, now called Kadesh, and conquered all the territories of the Amalekites, and also the Amorites living in Hazan Tamar. Then the rebel kings of Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, Zeboam, Bela, also called Zor, prepared for battle in the Valley of the Dead Sea. They fought against King Chedorlaomer of Elam, King Tidal of Goyim, King Amraphel of Babylonia, and King Arioch of Elasar, 4 kings against 5. As it happened, the Valley of the Dead Sea was filled with tar pits. And as the army of the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled, some fell into the tar pits, while the rest escaped into the mountains. The victorious invaders then plundered Sodom and Gomorrah and headed for home, taking with them all the spoils of war and all the food supplies. They also captured Lot, Abram's nephew, who lived in Sodom, and carried off everything he owned. But one of Lot's men escaped and reported everything to Abram, the Hebrew, who was living near the oak grove belonging to Mamre the Amorite. Mamre and his relatives, Eshcol and Aner, were Abram's allies. When Abram heard that his nephew Lot had been captured, he mobilized 318 trained men who had been born into his household. Then he pursued Chedorlaomer's army, and he caught up with them at Dan. There he divided his men and attacked during the night. Chedorlaomer's army fled, but Abram chased them as far as Hobah, north of Damascus. Abram recovered all the goods that had been taken, and he brought back his nephew Lot with his possessions and all the women and other captives. Melchizedek blesses Abram, who we know, after reading last year, that Melchizedek is Christ, is a representation of Christ. Genesis 14, 17 through 24. After Abram returned from his victory over Chedorlaomer and his allies, the king of Sodom went out to meet him in the valley of Shiva, that is, the king's valley. And Melchizedek, okay, no, I'm getting him confused with the other guy. I spoke too soon. Listen, spammy people. I'm getting rid of spammy comments if I can. I can't take the comments off, but I can hide the... Maybe I can. Boy, oh boy, spammers. Melchizedek blesses Abram. I already started reading that. Okay. And Melchizedek, the king of Salem, and the priest of the God Most High brought Abram some bread and wine. Melchizedek blessed Abram with this blessing. Blessed be Abram by God Most High, creator of heaven and earth, and blessed be God Most High, who has defeated your enemies for you. Then Abram gave Melchizedek a tenth of all the goods he had recovered. The king of Sodom said to Abram, Give back my people who were captured, but you may keep for yourself all the goods you have recovered. Abram replied to the king of Sodom, I solemnly swear to the Lord, God, Most High, creator of heaven and earth, that I will not take as much as a single thread or sandal thong from what belongs to you. Otherwise, you might say, I am the one who made Abram rich. I will accept only what my young warriors have already eaten, and I request that you give a fair share of the goods to my allies, Aner, Eshcol, and Mamre. Okay. All right. That's it for the Bible today. Let's go ahead and jump over to Trim Healthy Mama 100 Days of Inspiration. We're on day 4. All right. Day 4. A beautiful word. This one is from Nancy. One of the most beautiful Hebrew words in the Bible is a word that KJ can't pronounce. It's ta'anug. Ta'anug. It means delightful, lovely, precious, cherished, pleasant, fondled. The word is used in different ways to describe family life. The love of a husband and wife. In Song of Solomon 7:6, the husband says to his wife, Oh, how beautiful you are, how pleasing, my love, how full of delights. Why is she so delightful? Because she takes time and thought to make herself delightful and desirable to her husband. A mother's love for her children. In Micah 1:16, God calls them children of your delight. Our children are to be loved, cherished, fondled. They are to be precious, they are too precious. Excuse me. They are too precious to give someone else to care for, aren't they? We treasure them enough to take this responsibility ourselves. A woman's love for her home. Micah 2:9. Says, The women of my people you drive out from their delightful houses. God was angry with those who would evict women from the homes they love. It is inherently within us to love our home. It is how God created us. Adam was created before God created the Garden of Eden, but he had the home waiting for Eve. And what did God call his first home? Eden means delightful. God wants us to make our homes beautiful, a delightful place for his presence, for our husband, and for our children. And why would we want to leave our delightful homes? Why would we forsake something we love for something lesser? Okay, that's from Nancy. Okay. Blessed to be unique. We received an email from a woman who had finally reached her goal weight with THM. She was happy to see the numbers on the scale and to fit back into her wedding dress, but her joy was dampened. She asked us what we thought were the best exercise to reduce her thighs, which she thought still looked too big and out of proportion for the rest of her body. We replied that nice rounded thighs are a beautiful mark of womanhood, and if she has achieved a healthy goal weight, why reduce them? We are all shaped differently. Some women want more rounded thighs. They deal with rounded bellies, while their thighs stay stick thin. Some women would love bigger breasts. Others consider paying for a breast reduction. When will we be happy just accepting? Our unique goal weights are completely different to someone else's. What the scale reads will be different as well. Both of us, for example, are at goal weights. Even though we are both tall, there's a difference of 15 pounds between us, and we buy different size jeans. You can't exercise away your DNA. We are all unique, wonderful creations. Romans 9:20 asks, Does the clay say to the potter, Why did you make me like this? Serene and Pearl, I love that. The clay does not say to the potter, Why did you make me tall and thin? Why did you make me short and chubby? Why did you make me round here? Why didn't you make me tall and thin like that vase over there? I love that. All right, shining my light. I experienced one of our nation's biggest, flashiest, liveliest cities cities earlier this year. When I asked how I enjoyed it, I explained that I had two very strong emotions. The first emotion was that my mind was overwhelmed, that there was so much to do. My eyes constantly shifted to be able to see all the sights. I was excited, I was thrilled, I was amazed. The second emotion was that I was getting wrong vibes, bad vibes. I wanted to go home. No, not just back to my earthly home, but to my heavenly home. I didn't even know if I wanted to live in a world if it was all like this. We will have moments of fun and happiness in this life, but times are getting dark. Once I was back home, I realized that it's not just that big city I went to that's full of evil. There are struggles, sadness, and sin everywhere. I can barely go anywhere without being exposed to it. To Christians, this makes us want to escape the world itself. But that's the wrong mindset. Yes, we are to flee sin. See 2 Timothy 2:22 and James 4. We are to flee so that we won't sin. We are to flee the ways of this world. But we are not to flee from this world. Why do you think God put us here? What else is our purpose on earth but to be the light? Netto. Very good. So I love Pearl and Serene's this time. And there's so much about body acceptance and, loving yourself the way you are. And I agree with that. But I think that there's too much culture in the world of not trying to get healthy for the sake of saying, you need to love your body at whatever stage it's at. We're created the way we're created. That doesn't mean we're not working for health. But when we're at our goal weight, when we've reached our goal or we're well on our way to our goal, I am probably 35 pounds away from where I'd like to be at a final weight. But I'm moving slowly. These last 30, the first 65 came off pretty quick. The last 35 are not necessarily going to come off quickly. And I, standing in front of the mirror saying, I still have this flab. My boobs are still too big. My butt is still too big. It's still too jiggly. It's still too wide. It's still too this. It's still too that. There's still too much cellulite. I still don't like the way I look in shorts. That is stealing my joy. I need to have joy in the body that I have right now. I need to enjoy what I look like right now. I look now, it's hard for me to see the weight loss, but what I have learned to do, I still look at myself as the same weight as where I started. But what's getting harder for me is to look in the mirror and be unhappy about it. That's getting harder for me. I look in the mirror now. Because of words like this, I've started to embrace the shape that I am right now, love the shape that I am right now, and be okay with where I am right now. I still have plenty of room for improvement. I still have a lot of way to go, but the Potter made me the way I am, not just in my heart, not just in my mind, but my body. And I need to love the creation as it is right now, because if I can't love it for what it is right now, how am I going to improve it? If I always am waiting for improvement, if I'm always waiting for it to get better, I'm never going to find joy now. And I don't want to wait for my joy. I want my joy right now. I've got plenty of opportunity to share my joy, to spread my joy, to enjoy my joy. So I'm going to do that. If that means that, whatever that means, that's what I'm going to do. Enjoy your body the way it is. Okay. You're loved for how you are and who you are. So embrace that. Okay. But keep working for health, and keep working to focus on the Lord. Keep focusing on Him and making Him, pleasing Him your goal, and not pleasing the world around us. Work on pleasing Him, and He'll give you that joy that you're seeking. Not working on just pleasing the people around us. Working on pleasing Him. Make Him your focus. And it will all come together. Okay. All right, guys, I love you all. Thank you for joining me for our joyful daily devotions. And I'll see you back tomorrow for another devotion. I am going to make breakfast now. What time is it? 6:55. I have about a half an hour before I have to do a go live. So I'm going to make something this morning, and I don't know what it is. It's going to have bananas, and it may be a shake because I have brown bananas, possibly questionable bananas that need to get used. So I'll see you in just a few minutes. Just going to turn on my camera, get out my ingredients, and I'll be ready to go. I love you all. Have a blessed day, and I'll see you back tomorrow.